back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition here of the KungFu Cup, 2026, week number 2. Your weekly list of KungFu Cup action. I'm, of course, your live VIP with you, and joined by these amazing players and by the people in the chat as well. Welcome, one and all. Welcome to our weekly KungFu Cup. Again, a big shout to SC Boy. SC Boy, they are the main Chinese community casters and the main Chinese entities, I should say. And when it comes to StarCraft, they have been partnering with Thunderfire, with NetEase. They've been running a bunch of tournaments, running Thunderfire, running Rongi Cup. Running Rongi Cup as well, and also bringing back KungFu Cup on a regular weekly basis. Let's go, Bible, let's go. So we're here to catch up. We're here to jump into some KungFu Cup action, and we have our initial matchup. We have our initial TvZ. We're going to be jumping into TvT, ByuN versus Cure. Let's go. Bearing in mind this is going to be a replay cast. KungFu Cups do occur deep late into the night, so we are not able to cover it live at the moment, but daylight savings is right around the corner, and once it hits, we should be able to cover this event on a more regular basis, live specifically. Let's go. I think that'll be either next week or the week after that, so right around the corner. But here we go. We're jumping in our first matchup. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Winterman, as we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran for Team Liquid. It is Cure. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the other South Korean Terran player. We have the red Terran representing Shop Aurelian. It is ByuN. Let's go. Let us go again. We are in the quarterfinals of this event. We're going to be covering the quarterfinals into semis into grand finals. That'll be the structure here of this broadcast. Once again, as we mentioned, this is a weekly tournament. There have been different iterations of KungFu Cup, in monthlies, weeklies. We've had like StarCraft Evolution KungFu Cups, Warcraft Evolution as well. Like, we've had some different kind of variations, of course. This year we are coming back on a regular weekly basis. I believe the plan is the KungFu Cup runs every 4 weeks and then takes 1 week break. That fifth week will be a break instead, and then back into 4 weeks. So I believe that is the current schedule for the KungFu Cup. And again, we should be able to catch up and start broadcasting live starting next week. Oh, there you go. Next week should be back to live coverage. Beautiful. It's gonna be an intense month. It's an intense April, catching up on the otherwise missed out broadcast, but we will get there. Otherwise, so far we do get back into our TvT. Once again, double gas open out of ByuN, double gas open out of Cure. These two players have been facing off so often as of late. We've been covering a lot of TvTs featuring ByuN, Percival, and Cure as well, and they face off once again. Now, something interesting that we've been seeing is that typically I do favor Cure in the Terran versus Terran matchup. I would say Cure has some of the best TvT in the world. There's a reason why Cure beat Mara at EWC in the TvT matchup, but ByuN is a very unique player. He's a bit of a different beast. You know anything about ByuN, he's the kind of player that will stay on a very low tech army. So typically in Terran versus Terran, as we build up into a macro game, so far double gas, faster factory, late TC, we can get into a bit of a stronger Hellion Reaper setup. But typically, as we get into a longer game state, it goes Biotank, then into Viking production, then into Liberators, then into Ravens, then potentially BC in the Giga late game. But it's all about air control. That's what it turns into, in the slower style of like tanks, Marines, Vikings, positional play. That's typically where TvT does lead for most Terran players out there. ByuN is very different. Instead of switching into Vikings, and we saw this morning actually. This morning we did cast ByuN versus Percival. Fun fact, Percival did beat ByuN. I recommend the votes for this morning. It was intense back and forth TvT, but what ByuN does do intentionally is that he will stay in the mid game with Marine Tank. He will stick with Marine Tank. He will not transition, or it takes a lot to force him to transition out of Biotank into Vikings, into Ravens, into an air transition. He will do everything he can to avoid getting into that kind of position and avoid being forced into that kind of army composition switch. Again, going into purely Marine Tank, the advantage of that is that it's a very cheap army. It's a very mobile army specifically. Allows you to go for Doom drops into the main base, drop play into the third, into the fourth, big rotations as well. You can stim across the map, you can stim and try to bypass an army. Like, it does allow you to be hyper aggressive, and ByuN does that like no other. Sometimes to his own detriment. It does mean that usually in TvT, if we get to the mid game, ByuN is on a timer, right? Because his opponent is building up a superior composition, a much more efficient composition, and will eventually outscale ByuN if ByuN fails to get damage done. That's typically how ByuN's CVTs do kind of work out. Meanwhile, Cure did take the initially better fight, took down 2 Reapers, going up the ramp. Oh, his own army does line up. And better heli volleys here from ByuN. A nice split, nice spread. And we do get a bit of a back and forth trade, but the Curie breaks through. The Curie does break on through. Text and all the fire, pushing towards the natural. ByuN has to evacuate. He cannot defend that natural base, but the Cyclone has now arrived. And with the Cyclone arriving, Curie has to back off, has to respect it, pulls away. Whew, so we do have a bit of a back and forth trade. Ideally, Cure did want economic damage. He fails to get into the mineral line. He barely does fail to do so. And pulling it back here, we do see a bit of a back and forth trade. But now that we have Cyclones, ByuN, he's secure. ByuN is going to be secure. Tank production has begun. We do have Cyclones and soon to be tanks from Cure. Both players building up in towards their own Ravens. Despite this same opener of going for the double gas, we do have different variations here. Cure committing harder into Reaper Hellion. ByuN faster switch into Cyclone tank. Here we go. As the dust does settle, I do favor ByuN's army currently here, as ByuN does have a slightly faster tank, so faster Cyclone, faster tank production. ByuN does have a slightly better setup here coming into a longer game, but only slightly. When it comes to the economies, we're neck and neck. Are neck and neck. As we have our extra Raxes. Cure, he is one to embrace mech from time to time, but that's very map dependent. I don't really see mech happening here on Winter Madness. We could see it on some of these other maps, like Celestial Enclave, for example. But here we can just slow things down and build up into Biotank. Yeah, there's the add-on swap. Into Stim. We do have a bit of a greedier follow-up here by Cure going for the third CC on location, quite greedy. ByuN going for a CC on the high ground so he can float over whenever he needs be. This tells me that ByuN has the opportunity to punish this expansion if he can start to be active. But now though, Cure, the best defense is a good offense, right? He's getting his third base, it is exposed, it is vulnerable. The goal here for Cure is to be active, to force ByuN to stay at home, not to push across the map. So much more proactive defense here from Cure, as he does move out. He's got his Ravens, he has his Disables. Getting ready to move in. Also, share map, happy share map. True, true. Bienvenidos in the chat. Bienvenidos. Good to see you. Yeah, as Cure does poke in. Trying to get within range of the main base potentially. Thanks to Siege. Lock on here on the tank. Another lock on! Yeah, lock on is brutal. The tank doesn't go down. Forced to use the disable. The tank barely does survive. Just barely against the Cyclone. But one shot away from going down. Yeah, does shuffle back his units. But a very exposed tank. Raven's going to be moving in. Ooh, tank volleys on the Cyclone. Tank volleys do pop off. Cure, he has his own disable. Raven's coming in from behind. The boys are being pulled, and ByuN is going to try to break out. Yeah, does go for the dive. Does break out. Throws out the auto turret. Throws out the disable. Knife, not bad. Yeah, not bad disable here. The Ravens are going to be cleaned up. So many SCVs going to be going down. ByuN losing far too much. If he does not break out, no shot. ByuN, he loses everything. Yeah, he fails to break out, losing 19 SCVs, losing the main army as well. And Cure, he overwhelms. Yeah, he overwhelms. He pushes past. Gets on top of the final tank. GG gets called, and Cure, he takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Cure does take a lead in the series. Again, coming into this, both players were kind of keeping up with each other. Cure, he had no intention of ending the game, by the way. Like, he was expanding behind it. He was claiming his third base. He was teching up and building up. But we saw that ByuN, he committed so hard to trying to break up by pulling all the boys. Unfortunately, they were defensive auto targets for Cure. He was able to tank up all those SCVs. He had the extra tank as well, shelling away at the main army. And yeah, that was a very extreme response there from ByuN, and he lost everything as a result. Lost everything. I believe the goal there, of course, was to try to break out and then instantly counterattack. That's why you'd pull the boys to have a bit of a more efficient breakout, quote unquote efficient in the sense that you preserve your army units, but yeah, it did not work well at all. It was like, that was brutal. GG. GG, well played. With that, Cure takes the lead, and now we're going to be loading into game number 2. Going to be loading into Tourmaline. Let's go. Let us go. Loading into now this time a much smaller map in the map pool. This is where you can be more active and more aggressive earlier on. Let's go. Spawning in the bottom left hand corner of Tourmaline, we have the South Green Terran player. We have the Blue Terran representing Shopify. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Red Terran player. We have the South Green Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Cure. Kira does take a lead in the series, and we'll see how our players do adjust coming into game number 2. Game 1, we did have our initial double gas openers in towards the mid game. Again, both players were holding their own in their own way, but Kira, he was able to force a bigger response and a bigger engage there from ByuN, and was able to not just break the army, but break the economy as well. Kira got everything he wanted. Got it all. This time, single gas. This time, single gas openers from both ByuN and, oh, I spoke too soon. Kira does go for the second gas geyser. So Kira is going for a faster factory. ByuN is going for the faster command center. So ByuN will have a more economic start. Kira more tech heavy. So Kira does move out with his initial SCV. It is not uncommon in TvT to skip the SCV scouts, but this map is small enough where I understand the need to be a little bit safer here for Kira, to be a little bit more secure. So he moves out with the SCV, checking for proxies, and he will soon confirm the opener. When it comes to the early game here, ByuN will come out ahead, as ByuN will have the faster command center, and ByuN didn't waste a worker scouting across the map either. Q moves in, confirms the racks, and confirms the CC. So Kira sees everything he needs to. He now knows that ByuN went for a greedy economic build. And the pressure is now on Kira. Pressure's on Kira to find some damage here with his opener. There's that faster factory. We can go into, once again, Reaper Hellion. Commit into fast Reaper Hellion, or try to go into an earlier Cyclone. Buenos días, la grasa. Buenos días. Bienvenidos. Buenos días. Kira's going to push in, getting his own natural as well. Again, far later here for Kira. Later expansion. Reaper's moving out. As you can see here, there's no Hellions this time. Yeah, no Hellions, going straight for the Tech Lab, straight for the Cyclone. So, lighter commitment out of Kira. Oh, Reaper gets caught out. Kira almost gets caught out. Thankfully, does pull away, does reinforce. Kira escapes. Does race back home. From here, we should be working towards tank Raven setup in the early game. We could try to be cheeky and go into early Banshee play. It can be quite risky, but I mean, high risk, high reward. You can pop off. Medevac's going to be on the way, so we have the early drop play out of Kira, likewise for ByuN as well. If you recall, we did not see this last game. Last game, we had faster Ravens from both players. This time, earlier drops. Okay, so it's going to be single Medevac into add-on swap into Raven. Reaper Hellion moving out. Reaper Cyclone even. ByuN has to be careful here. Loading up for a drop. Kira getting ready for his push. There it is, loads up the Cyclone. ByuN moves out. Kira's about to move in. The armies, they miss each other completely. Oh, okay. Yeah, the armies, they do pass by. And what is it to defend? We have 4 Marines back in for Kira. Meanwhile, ByuN has nothing. Oh, sorry, he has Reaper Hellion. It's 1 Reaper, 1 Hellion. Slow approach at a Kira. Kira goes for a depot. Meanwhile, ByuN, he can just commit in. So different approach here. Does he commit or does he just go for the depot? Yeah, he boosts in. He boosts into the mineral line, going straight for the economy. Again, Kira, he was a lot slower here to approach in. And SCV's going down. Ooh, sniping the Raven. Raven goes down. SCVs as well. ByuN cleans up the army. Forces back the drop, even getting a lock on. And both armies going to be forced back. Ooh, losing the Cyclone. ByuN does bleed out a lot of units here. ByuN was able to kill 3 SCVs. ByuN, they're losing 5. Yeah, 5 workers do go down. Worker counts are evening up. Remember that ByuN had a higher economy or better economy for longer here, so ByuN losing those extra workers does even things up. But remember, what else did ByuN achieve? He killed a Raven. Did snipe a Raven, so better pick off here, better trade for ByuN. he does snipe said Raven. From here, third CC is on the way. Here's expanding. Oh, ByuN going for a second starport. Okay, this is a modern variation of 2-port 2-base, not all in, but 2-port 2-base aggression. I should kind of rectify my language here, because going for a fast second starport used to be a 2-port 2-base all in. This was back a couple of years ago, or even just last year. But remember, there was a recent change. There was a recent buff to the Viking, which does make it cheaper, which does make it more accessible, which means that this is less committed. You can expand with this. It is hyper aggressive, don't get me wrong, going Raven into Vikings, but you can take that expansion. This is often not an all-in that ByuN is going for. So the goal here is to make 3 Vikings at a time, gain air control, and then reinforce with the Liberator, and then try to break your opponent. And we'll see if Cure can react and respond and scout this, more importantly. But yeah, the Viking is now 25 minerals cheaper. I was just double checking the exact numbers. That was the recent change from end of last year, November. So that's why you now can afford a CC with this build, with all those saved resources. ByuN is moving in. Gets spotted by the Marine. Do you have it? Oh, the tank count is even here. Tanks to initially siege for Cure. ByuN does shoot first. Yeah, ByuN kills the tank. Better pick up by ByuN. Does disable. Disables 2 tanks and he does move in. Yeah, layers the Vikings as well, going for the tanks. At the same time, we have the counter disables. But that's going to be all 3 tanks going down, and ByuN protects his own. Yeah, he protects his tanks. He overwhelms. He breaks on through. Too many Vikings. Doesn't even get them lifted. He lands, Pappy. And with that, he has broken the natural. ByuN, he breaks the natural. GG gets called, and ByuN, he will tie the series 1-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. And remember, ByuN wasn't even all in. ByuN was expanding behind it as well. That's the new variation of 2-port 2-base play, is you can afford that third CC. That's ever since the latest patch back in November. So a new modern variation can be quite strong, quite powerful. One of the reasons why Cure, his defense was that difficult as it was, remember, Cure, he lost a Raven. He lost a Raven before this fight in the beginning when it came to the first drop. And also Cure went for a very fast third CC, investing his resources into his economy, less so into his army. And with that, he was overwhelmed. Whew. And with that, we're now going to be loading into game number 3. Going to be getting into the ace match. Let's go. Game 3 is going to be on Taito Citadel. We'll see how this story ends. Again, that was a very specific build here by ByuN. It also hits harder on Tourmaline because, as we mentioned, Tourmaline is a smaller map. It's a very, very small map, so it takes less time to get across the map, and your opponent has less time to react to you as well. So that also came into play, but now we're loading into a larger map. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Taito Citadel, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Shopify. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top side, top left hand corner of Taito Citadel, we have the red Terran player. We have the South Korean Terran for Team Liquid. It is Cure. Let's go. We have our TvT, we have our ace match. We made it all the way here to the final game, and we'll see how this story does end. Once again, welcome to Taito Citadel. This is a larger map of the map pool. One of the big factors of Taito Citadel, which we often do see, which might come into play in this game as well, is how exposed or how isolated these bases are, referring to the linear third base and the triangular third as well. So the distance here, as you can see, between the bases is quite long. It's quite a long distance. And what does that mean? That means that if you fail to see your army moving and rotating and pivoting around from one base to the other, if you fail to keep up with that movement, then you can be caught with your pants down. It can take a long time to respond, and you'll be caught out of position. We do see time and time again, Terran-based armies, tanks getting within range and getting up this ramp and laying siege upon this either triangular third base or that linear third as well. It can be difficult to keep up. So vision, scouting is going to be paramount coming into the mid-game specifically. And to be fair, this applies to all matchups, right? It applies to Protoss rotations, Zerg rotations as well. It can be difficult to maintain a high base count on Taito. as you go from your linear third, your triangular third, and then all the way up here towards your northern fifth base as well. To be fair, a lot of players do just take the center expansion, which it has its own issues. Like, it's also quite exposed, can be attacked from multiple angles. We'll see if we can get there. For now, single gas opener, faster economy out of ByuN, going for the faster CC. Likewise, same can be said for Cure. So mirrored openers, mirrored builds. Do you have our mirrored starts? From here, reactor is going to be on the way. And we can just calm down. Okay, we can just calm down. Oh, okay, never mind. Going for the add-on swap into reactor to Hellion. Both players are. So building up a reactor to Hellion. Typically, when you commit into Hellions like this, the goal is for economic damage. There has been a build rise in popularity recently, which is getting up to 8 Hellions, and just diving onto the Cyclone and rushing past and getting to the mineral line. We've been seeing this build pop up over the past month, maybe 2 months. It's specifically this year. Specifically this year, we've seen like getting up to 8 reactor to Hellion. Can be quite intense. And we'll see if we continue additional Hellion production. Yeah, we are. Okay, let's go. We're going for it. Interesting that both players are kind of embracing the same build, actually. Like, blindly, by the way. Like, Cure hasn't scattered ByuN. ByuN has not scattered Cure. We're just blindly building up to 8 Hellions. We have a Raven, and the goal here is to commit across the map. It'll come down to the army control and how our players line up their units. Remember, Hellions do splash damage, and if your opponent lines up their army or clumps up their army, then they will take extra damage from said splash damage. We go. Okay, we're going to be stopping at 6, so not as committed. Not as committed here. Going to be stopping at 6 Hellions. Both players still keeping up with each other. And we'll see who's going to be the first to move out. Who will be the first? ByuN going for his own Raven harass. Meanwhile, Cure's Raven is being more defensive back at home. Hellion's also activated. Ideally, this sits at the same time, right? Ideally, one distracts for the other. Ooh, third base on location. Greedy move here by Cure. Get spotted. Army gets spotted. ByuN sees the exact same build, pulls away. Raven moves in. As we mentioned, one typically wants to distract for the other, and Cure is distracted. Oh, but they're Marines. Marines are in position. Raven is zoned away. So nice positioning here from Cure. Zones away the Raven. Both players are building up. Third CC is much more delayed here for ByuN. So delayed third here at the natural. Based on the third base positioning, ByuN, he might expand here at the linear location instead. We'll keep an eye on him. As ByuN is sharking around. Still quite tense between our players. I mean, no major advantage here. We're just keeping up with each other with an even economy. With the slight variation in army, we already have additional tank production for ByuN. The reasoning for this is that I believe Cure did go for a second Cyclone. Yeah, he went up to 2 Cyclones. ByuN only went up to 1. So ByuN has faster tank production. Likewise, ByuN switching into faster Viking production as well. So more Vikings, more tanks for ByuN. A much more aggressive move out here from our blue Terran. Cure, what's he doing? Upgrades. Double eBay, faster upgrades, faster third TC as well. Cure, he's investing into upgrades, investing into tech, investing into the economy. Meanwhile, ByuN is coming here and now. Ooh. Hellion volley goes up, 1 Hellion goes down. Nice lock in here from Cure. So we have a back and forth trade. Vikings are scouted by the scan. So Cure, you should know he's in trouble. He has to slow this down. Once again scanning. Ravens harassing on the left-hand side. Okay. Ravens, they peel off towards the left. Curious, when he scanned, he should have recognized that the Ravens are missing. Denies mining at the natural. Ravens, they keep going in. They go for the main, actually. Okay. Yeah, they head into the main base. They catch us some SCVs. No major damage here, but it does get 4 SCVs. Likewise, the army does respond. More auto turrets, more damage. Does he get the tank? No, not quite. Mass repair. Yeah, mass repair on the tank. 6 SCV kills. Still more auto turrets. Now, there is a bit of a downside here. On the one hand, nice damage, right? 8 workers. 8 workers go down for nothing, essentially for energy. But this also means that now these Ravens cannot help in the main fight. It means that they're fully tapped out of energy, so there's no counter disables, there's no auto turrets. If Kira will push. So that is a risk. Meanwhile, Kira, his Ravens are with the main army, and he can disable to his heart's content. ByuN, he has to be careful. As ByuN pulls away, he does go for the Hellion run by a very nice backstab. There's the first disable. Hellions, they bust into the mineral line. SV is going to be going down. And Curie commits. Curie does commit up the ramp. He gets 1, he gets 2. Ooh, 2 tanks go down. Massive pickoffs. Catching out one of the Vikings as well. Does go for the armor shred. And Curie denies the third. Denies the third base. Will force a lift. Again, ByuN, he's in trouble. Back across the map, finding more damage, getting more SCV kills. ByuN is ahead economically. He's ahead in the worker count, I should say. He's ahead in workers, but he's stuck on 2 bases. And there's still energy left over. There's still a lot of energy left here for Cure. Oh, he steps in. Yeah, he gets 1. Gets 1 of the Ravens. Bleeds out 13 SCVs. It's a lot of workers falling. Bearing in mind that ByuN still has the Viking count. Gonna be stone further back. There we go. Vikings, they push forward. They do get 1 of the Ravens. There's 1 Raven left. And he gets a second Raven. Yeah, cleans up. He does clean up. The boys are being pulled. Gets on top of the tanks. And ByuN completely shuts down the army. But at a cost. At a big cost here. Oh no, the SCVs. They overextend. That's going to be 37 SCV kills. ByuN holds. ByuN defends. But he has no economy. Thankfully, did keep his 3rd CC alive. But ByuN is hurting. What does ByuN have? What does ByuN have? ByuN, he still has the Ravens, true. The Ravens are still alive. ByuN still has the Viking lead as well. So he has Ravens, he has Vikings. When it comes to the main army, it is in favor of Cure in terms of Marines and tank count. As Raven harass continues. We can see Cure trying to catch out the Raven. Oh. Cure, all of his Marines are out of position, busy trying to deal with the Raven. Meanwhile, at the same time, ByuN going for a Dream Drop. Yeah, diving into the natural, and Cure is completely out of position. His army is here at the natural. Sorry, it's at the 3rd. It's across the map. Marines, they drop in. Cure is racing back. He's racing back home. Mining is being denied at the natural. Does pull the boys in. ByuN, he picks up. He will lose both tanks. He'll lose the tanks, dropping further into the main and getting more economic damage. Denying the upgrade? Maybe. Okay. Denies +2. Yeah, +2 is denied. At the same time, Curie does go for the counterattack. Once again, the boys are being pulled. A lot of economic damage here to ByuN. A lot of economic losses. Losing 20 SCVs. ByuN, he does hold, but once again, the economy is crippled. He just built back up. He just has no workers. 34 SCVs, pappy. And ByuN, sure, he was able to do some counter damage, but he also sustained too many losses. So ByuN is still behind. ByuN still has those Ravens, still has those Vikings. But now he has lost, he's now down in tanks. Ravens, they've joined up with the main army. Do get the repair off. Let's give it the single Marine drop, and he gets 2 SCVs. To be fair. ByuN doing what he can. Doing what he can. Likewise, ByuN does have the upgrade advantage just because +2 was denied. True. 3-3 has begun, so the upgrades might factor in for ByuN, assuming that the game lasts that long. It'll be impressive if it does. But that is a big delay. As Kira has to rebuild his eBay. Starts up +2. Kira moves out. So does ByuN. Kira gets spotted. And ByuN, how does he react? Okay, somewhat turns around. Does he have to pull the boys again? Does he? No. And more STV kills. ByuN moving in. Does get one of the tanks. And he's going to try to force the issue here. And turns back the army, gets one disable off. ByuN barely gets off the expansion. Another disable here on the other tank. Not bad. Kills one, kills both tanks. And Kira cannot engage. At the same time, he's in the main. He drops into the main. Third base is being denied. Again, Kira's only fighting with a portion of his army because he did go for the drop play. And Kira cannot break out. ByuN gaining ground.
Is under attack.
Slowly pushing in. The drop isn't really achieving much damage. Did deny some mining, but there's nothing in the main anyway. Dropping to the third. Forcing with a friendly fire. And ByuN just commits into the main. Just picks up. Boosts in. There's one on siege tank. Kira's late to respond. One tank doesn't get picked off. ByuN, he maintains his position. Yeah, he shells away. Just shells away at the army. Doesn't quite get the tank though. Kira's holding. Kira's holding on. It's a little bit more messy here, but this job wasn't worth it. It was not worth it for ByuN. Please, that too much. Did he kill the CC? Okay. I was like, wait. I was like, where's the command center? Floated over. Did float over. Thankfully, didn't kill the CC. But we're getting messy. Worker counts are neck and neck. When it comes to the army, Kira has a massive tank lead. Meanwhile, ByuN has more Marines. Bearing in mind that, hey, we spoke about 3-3 earlier. 3-3 is about to finish for ByuN. And Kira's going to have 3-2. ByuN sips in, does get 1. 2 siege tanks. Wow, very nice pickup. Catching out 2 tanks. Pulls away. Again, Kira never made use of that second eBay. So he will have worse upgrades for his ByuN. Floats over his main. Lands it at the third. And we're getting messy. Yeah, dropping across the map. The space is looking quite exposed. We mentioned this at the very beginning of the game, how once you get your fourth base up and running, your bases are very spread out, you're very spread thin. And we'll see if Kira can keep up. So far as in position. Tanks are ready. Cheeky moves here by Kira, stemming in. One says Metamax. Getting cheeky. ByuN also securing his own fourth. And after chaotic mid-game, we're slowing things down. Like, the game is slowing down. We're establishing our 4 bases. I say we're slowing things down. Kira does push. He does go for the mass on siege. He's got 11 tanks to 6. He's got double the tank count. It's a lot of tanks. Remember, ByuN has the higher marine count instead, and we'll see if ByuN can catch out these tanks unsieged. If not, then Kira's just going to push his way through. Kira's going for it. There's a sim. A sim's in. Ooh, late siege. And how many tanks do we get? 1, 2, just 2, 3. 3 tanks go down. Marines, they get shut down as well. And ByuN, he's on overwhelm. These tanks are so exposed. There's no support. We got to get out of here. Kira's going further in. Pushing within range. Bold move here from Kira. Again, we need support. Like, these tanks, I need the Marines. I need support. The Marines are coming. Steaming across the map. ByuN, he tries to dive, comes in for the surround, and it's too late. Yeah, ByuN, he cleans up every single tank. Yeah, the reinforcements were too late, too delayed. And Kira did overextend. Again, sure, Kira, he had the higher tank count, but he had nothing to protect, nothing to support those tanks. They were on their own. And with that, Kira, he will lose his lead. He does lose the tank lead. Every tank goes down. And ByuN does it. The power of mass marine. Man with gun, baby. Let's go. Yeah, rushes across the map, takes down the 4th. Pushing into the natural. Actually, we'll just kill the CC. Which hurts even more because there is no main. Secure down to 2 command centers. 2 command centers left. Thankfully, it does make a 3rd. It does make a 3rd CC. He's floating over. Oh. Yeah, calm down. Yeah, ByuN getting a little bit greedy. Has to pull away, but again, ByuN, he has taken the lead. He's ahead in economy now. He's got his 4 bases. Likewise, ByuN, he now takes a tank lead, which should not have happened. But he's ahead in tanks. And the pressure's on Kira. Now, there is potential. There are ways to say, I was going to say drop into the main base. There's not really much to kill in the main, but there are ways to hit the 3rd. Scans for the northern base. ByuN going for his own double drop. We see that ByuN, he's paranoid about drop play as well, getting ready here outside of his main. Ready for the counterattack. And ByuN is about to max. He's about to max out. Showing just how far ahead he has been, economically at least. Yep, catching out the drops. Ooh. Catching the medevac. Kira, he has to get out of here. He has to pull out. ByuN does rotate the first siege as well. Within range of the planetary. Liberation has arrived. ByuN just getting further ahead. And once the answer to the Liberators, there's no answer. There's no answer. He sims in and gets 3 more tanks. Oof. 3 more tanks go down. Planetary as well. Kira's still stuck on 2 bases. And again, ByuN has done it. We had the back and forth, went all the way to the ace match, and even this game had its own moments for Kira, moments for ByuN. But in the end, Kira did overextend. Otherwise, we could have just slowed the game down and maxed out. Kira, he was overly aggressive. Didn't have enough support. With that long distance mining, he floats over the main once again. That's the main base, baby. He flew over to the 3rd, now floating over to the 4th. Kira hanging in there. He's holding on. Oh! A bit of an overengage engage here from ByuN. The overengage engage, he does get caught out. Kira catching half the army, not bad, but there's still so much to surround. So many Marines left over. And ByuN collapses in. Yeah, ByuN collapses in. Chasing down the Marines. Again, this is the final army for Kira. GG gets called, and ByuN will claim the series 2-1, advancing on to the semi-finals. GG. Whew. GG, well played. ByuN, he will claim the series. He will advance on. Again, a very intense back and forth here. Once again, ByuN showcasing his own unique style of TvT, staying very, very heavy on Marines, light on Vikings, and lighter on tanks. Heavy bio play, and with that, it was very shaky. We was very back and forth. We had moments where ByuN was forced to pull the boys and losing a bunch of SCVs. Kure doing the same as well. Very chaotic, very messy between both players. In the end, it all came down to that final push from Kure towards the south side, where he moved out with, what was it, like 8 to 11 tanks? No, yeah, it was 11. It was 11 tanks moving out, and he had a really high tank count, but he bled out a lot of Marines early on, so he couldn't really protect those tanks. So the tanks were on their own, so they were vulnerable to surround, and ByuN collapsed in, reset the tank counts, and GG, well played. Took it from there. And with that, congratulations, ByuN, he'll advance on into the next round to face off against his next opponent. Oh boy, it's going to be a TvZ, Terran versus Rogue. It's going to be ByuN versus Rogue. Let's go. Oh boy. Let us go. It's going to be a TvZ. Meanwhile, before I get ahead of myself, a big shout out to Zion SC2 in the chat. God, thank you so much. Thank you so much for subscribing with Twitch Prime for 2 months. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the content, the casting, and the StarCraft. Thank you. Thank you. Gracias, papi, gracias. As we are getting into our fresh series, our semifinals, we're following ByuN into the semis. Let's go.